3 years ago this week, shootings plagued Gun Appreciation Day. I don't know if you remember this Gun Appreciation Day thing. It was really stupid. And the chairman of it was named Larry Ward. And we actually interviewed him. And we've had very few interviews on our program, Lewis, where the guest abruptly ends the interview, what we call a hang up. Larry Ward's interview was one of them. I invite you to check out that interview. And the entire Gun Appreciation Day thing was a disaster. There were gun shows in Indiana and in Ohio and in North Carolina with shootings, accidental shootings, as people like to call them. I call them negligent shootings. They just don't learn. And last week we talked about the Gabby Giffords shooting and how the United States, by and large, learned very little in terms of turning it into action from the Gabby Giffords shooting. The Gun Appreciation Day shootings showed us the absurdity of this ammo-sexual obsession with guns that we have. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't know that anything could happen with guns in this country, no matter how disastrous, that would make the more guns in more places crowd say, hey, you know what? Maybe we need to reconsider.
No, it really only happens on an individual basis. I think that, let's say one of those people is affected somehow by gun violence, despite having a gun on them,
right?
Despite having guns in the home, and they realize that it either made no difference or made the situation worse. Maybe on an individual basis, you'll have some people change their minds.
And we sometimes
the vast
get
majority
stories.
of this thing will never happen to any of them.
Right. It's interesting because every once in a while we'll get a story from someone who said, hey, I'm all about Second Amendment, concealed carry. I was at this shooting and I had a gun. And when the craziness started, I realized, what am I going to do if I take the gun out? How am I going to improve this situation if I take the gun out? That's a situation very few people will ever be in. But sometimes it happens and they realize, I'm not going to be able to add to the situation here by adding my gun to the flurry of gunshots.
Yeah, well, the problem is that every gun owner thinks they're Rambo or James Bond. So
not all. I mean, we get emails from some who say, I would never even think of getting involved. I carry my gun.
You know
with
what
me
the type
anywhere.
of person I'm talking about.
I
I mean, if you're someone who likes to collect guns and go target shooting, I mean, we're talking about the types of people we're seeing in the picture here.
Yeah.
They do all think they're Rambo or James Bond, and they think they'll be in a situation where they'll just dominate and they'll own it, and everything will be fine because they had a gun. And until they're in that situation, you won't change their mind.